Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 269 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. I feel like we just talked for like 15 minutes.
What do you mean we talked before the show?
It's just we just turned the mics on, and this is the first time we've spoken to each other, breaking the fourth wall, I guess, right? I was just telling you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say not any planning at all that goes into this. No planning. I mean, really, there isn't that much. But but I was just telling you before the show how I'm going to see Inside Out 2 tonight, and we got talking about movies and why we don't go to movie theaters anymore. But I kind of feels like movie theaters are coming back. But I'm looking forward to seeing that tonight. It does seem like it's. I've heard a lot of great things about it. So. Yeah, actually, it's I guess this is a bit of a follow up from our last conversation about Avatar and all that. Is we were talking about like why that didn't click it, but something like Inside Out to me, it's like that to me makes sense. Like I expect Disney to hype it, and I expect them to invest in it because it has like it has the right amount of hype around it. Whereas I feel like Avatar, like it made a bunch of money, but I still don't understand how it made all of its money, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, But glad you're going to go see it. We're going to wait for it to come out on Disney Plus because movie theaters. But,
it's funny you say that because we were going to do that, and then my wife's like, we could really use like a date night, and like let's go watch this. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good because I usually just wait for it to come to Disney Plus, But anyway, we should introduce our guests, but before we do that, let's should we do our review of the week, and then we'll this week we got one from Ashley Fenn, 5-star review. Thank you for that. It says, great dynamic. Love the show. All the guys are great. Really enjoy hearing all of their different opinions on various Disney topics. So thanks for that, Ashley. It's glad you're enjoying it because we're enjoying it. We do. Yeah. Is Ashley? Is that the same Ashley that just posted in our Facebook group? Yeah. Oh no. Yes. Yeah, it is. That she did a 1-day trip to Disney from Philadelphia, flew down, did a day, and then flew back again, which is crazy.
I respect that.
I do.
That is cool. Like good for you for doing that.
Good for you is right. Good for you. So, but let's go ahead and introduce our guest. We've got Dani from DVC Resale Market on here. Dani's been on many times.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be back. And by the way, Ashley, you are my hero. That is the coolest thing ever. What an adrenaline rush. Like you get up early, super early in the morning, you hop on a plane and you go to Disney. Like you just open your eyes in the morning and you're like, what do I want to do today? Like, let's go to Disney. What a rush. That's so cool.
I mean, that's like something you local Floridians can do, right? But like from Philly, like you got to get on a plane. You got to go. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So my best memory growing up, so I grew up in South Florida, like in the Fort Lauderdale area. And my best memories were, in the middle of the night, our parents would wake us up. We were so disoriented. They would put us in the car in our pajamas. We had no idea where we were going or what we were doing. I'm like, am I going to school right now? Like, what is happening? And then we're driving and, 20 minutes, 40 minutes later, I'm like, where are we going? And then all of a sudden, they surprise us with Disney World. And I mean, I grew up going to Disney probably, more times than I can count every single year. And still, every time, it was just such a rush. It was so cool.
I think I've talked about this on the show before, but when I grew up in New Jersey and my family never flew anywhere. Like we drove everywhere. So we would drive to Disney from New Jersey, which is like, I think it's like 20 hours or something like that, right? It's a crazy long ride.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I remember when I was a young kid, my dad had one of those vans where you could like take out the back seats and, remove them completely. And so he used to just remove all the back seats and we would put like sleeping bags in the back and he would drive all the way there. And I'm like, that was a poor idea. We probably shouldn't have done that. Like as an adult now looking back,
Yeah.
We had this,
fine.
Did you guys have
it's the 80s?
So we had this TV. Like I don't know I guess it was meant for the car because it had like the cigarette lighter jack.
Oh yeah,
and so it was like this big white TV that had a VCR in it, and so we would put that in the car because like that was before. I mean, I guess they had some cars with the little TVs on the back headrest, but those were like really fancy cars.
Unless you were really fancy.
Yeah, exactly. So we like kind of, we still wanted to have the experience, so we got this like massive white TV with the VCR, and we would set it up in between the two pilot seats and like sit all the way in the back of the car so we could watch movies on the way to Disney.
Nice.
Yeah, my dad had one of those, and I feel like the only VHS we ever had in the car was like George of the Jungle for some reason.
And you just watched it over
and over. Yeah.
Wait,
and
like the Brendan Fraser?
The Brendan Fraser one. Yes, the Brendan Fraser one, Trevor.
Sorry, I asked because there's a cartoon that spawned that. That's actually what I watched when I was a kid, was the original cartoon.
No, it was the Brendan Fraser one. I remember this very distinctly. I don't know why that was what was in the car, but that's what was there, right? So
I think ours was the Parent Trap.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and nowadays my daughter just has a tablet, and she's that's it for the whole way there.
Anything she wants, right at her fingertips.
Well, I tried to tell her before too. I was like, when I was a kid, we didn't have the tablet. We had, what was it, Brain Quest or Mind Quest? Did you guys ever do that? It was the trivia game for kids. Oh man, we used to have that.
Palm Pilots.
Oh, I didn't have that.
I'm kidding. I think my parents had one of those.
Yeah, coloring book.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm the oldest one here. So yeah, we had coloring books, and maybe they would let us put on the mixtapes that we had. But mom and dad would only let those on for a little bit. Oh no, we didn't even have that. We just had like tape decks in the car, like when I was a kid.
Okay, yeah.
Did you have like the book that had like the invisible ink thing where you have the marker? Like, everyone had that for road trips, right? That was Or you do like the Mad Libs. You had the book with the Mad Libs. We'd always do the license plate game too. We'd try to find license plates from all the other states, which I tried with my daughter the last time we drove to Disney, and she actually really enjoyed it. And then she got bored of that, and then I was like, okay, well, how about you count how many campers you see? And so that became, we're trying to try different things because you can only do the tablet for so long. So anyway, we have Dani here. We should be talking about DVC Resale Market. I know people enjoy when we just talk about random things, but you know what though? I would love to hear from people like, when you were a kid, what was the thing, like if you were driving to Disney or flying to Disney, like what was the thing that kept you occupied when you were a kid?
And what I want to hear too, what was like the best memory of maybe like a road trip that you went on, or like a surprise trip that you went on? Because those are always my favorite. Like I love watching those videos on YouTube of the parents surprising the kids, and then they start freaking out. I love those.
Oh yeah, those are cool. See, I feel like my parents never did that. My mom is like a hardcore planner. Like when she would, like our Disney trips were planned down to like the half hour,
Oh, so you had like the calendar on your refrigerator that counted down the days.
Oh, well, yeah, 100%. Like there was never like a get in the car, we're going somewhere. Like it was like my mom had an itinerary. Like we were,
we knew like probably a year ahead of time every time we went to Disney.
Yeah. I will say one memorable thing driving to Disney was we were driving through a storm in Florida one time, and we were driving right next to the water, and we saw water spouts. We saw like several of them.
Oh, wow.
Like right next to our car, which was both equal parts scary and cool. But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying. I mean, I live in Florida. I actually live right on the beach, and I don't think I have, nor do I ever want to see that. I would be absolutely terrified.
Yeah, it was, I remember it like very vividly. And I was probably a teenager when this happened, but it was, like I said, equal parts terrifying and kind of cool. It's like, oh, look at those. They're over there. But, oh, wait, they're like over there.
And then
like
did you think that just happens like all the time in Florida?
Yeah. Wow. I just assume that Florida is constantly water spouts and hurricanes and tornadoes.
I'm envisioning like Twister. Like
Yeah, exactly. There was a cow floating through one of them and a shark, Sharknado. It was a Sharknado. That's what it was.
Of course.
Anyway, Dani, it's been like 20 episodes or so since you've been on. So, you never know when we have new listeners. So you want to give like just a brief intro of yourself, what you do, what your background is, just for anybody that doesn't know you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I work with DVC Resale Market. I'm a sales agent over there. I absolutely love it. I get to work with some of my best friends. I previously worked for Disney directly as a DVC guide, and I was actually on the cruise team. So when I was over there, I spent a lot of my time at Walt Disney World, but also out on the cruise ships. And I spent, I think it was about 10 years out on cruise ships, out on the high seas. No spouts out there, thankfully, or at least that I saw. But yeah, I have spent quite some time around the Walt Disney Company and in many, many different facets.
That's great. Yeah. So I we always like to bring you on to kind of get an idea of what's going on with DVC resale, or we also like to ask you random DVC questions too, because that's always fun, and to make you guys speculate stuff. Although I feel like every time we bring Derek on, Derek won't speculate on things. I'm like, I just want you to come up with the craziest idea you can, because that's what we do. But
the reason why he doesn't do that is because when we used to work for Disney, like you can't do that when you work for Disney, because people are like, well, Derek said they were building a new resort in like Antarctica, and I still don't see that resort.
So it's just ingrained in him. He can't.
Yeah.
Then they should give that training to the bus drivers and boat drivers then, because I feel like all the misinformation out there comes from the boat drivers and bus drivers.
They're the ones behind all the blogs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, seriously. I mean, I think everyone that's listening to this has had a bus driver or boat driver tell them something before that was completely incorrect.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
I agree.
So what's going on with the resale market? I know you telling me that you guys were doing those deals before, and I guess that's coming back, or what? You tell me about it. I don't want to.
Well, since the last time I was on, so the Rofer Monster was fast asleep for about a year and a half, and that was pretty crazy. We haven't experienced anything like that for as long as I can remember. They weren't buying back, Disney wasn't buying back anything. And so for those of you that might not be as familiar with the Rofer Monster or right of first refusal, Disney does have the right to buy back resale contracts. And they typically, in a normal market, will buy back about 10 to 15% of all resale contracts. And so if you've bought on the resale market before, you're going to get an insane deal. You're going to get 50 to 60% off of direct pricing. But it's a little bit of a game. You have to put your offer in, it gets accepted, it goes to Rofer. And if your offer's if your offer that you got accepted was really great, there's a very good chance it could get bought back by Disney. But they weren't doing that for a while. And the Rofer Monster has woken up. So they have started buying back again. They've bought back, some Polynesian, some Old Key West, some Grand Floridian, some Grand Floridian, some Animal Kingdom. So that has definitely shaken up the market a bit. We're still in a buyer's market at the moment. So I'm going to give you some predictions here.
Oh, I love this. Yes.
And I don't usually like to do this, just, as I said, you don't hold me to this, but I'm just going to...
Nobody holds us accountable on the show for any of the things. So you're good. You're good.
I'll put some information out there, and then we can kind of, speculate together. Disney has started a new promotion over the summer where they're selling sold out inventory. So for a while there, if you went directly to Disney and you said, hey, I want to buy an Old Key West contract, they were like, nope, sorry. We have these 4 resorts that we're selling right now. It's considered our live inventory. This is what's for sale. And that was for quite some time. And then just this summer, they started doing, sold out inventory at Animal Kingdom, Saratoga, and Bay Lake. Well, my thinking, so they haven't been buying back really at any of those 3 resorts, but I'm thinking that we might start to see a shift in that, because that promotion has been doing very well. People are definitely taking advantage of buying sold out inventory direct. And so I'm thinking that we might start seeing some Rofer buybacks there. What do you guys think?
No, that's interesting. So do you think part of it, like especially for Poly being one, is because of the new tower coming
100%.
online? Yeah, so that's it, right?
Poly is, definitely a member favorite. I would say might even be one of, if not the most popular resort at Walt Disney World for DVC. And so I think once they announced the new tower being built, it was taken very, very well. Everyone was super excited about it. There's been a lot of talk around it. And I think they're projecting for it to sell out very quickly, probably similar timeline to the new rooms that they sold at the Grand Floridian. So I think they just need some inventory for that. They want to make sure that they are padded this time because they just sold out of Grand Floridian so fast.
I mean, that makes sense too. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so even though there is a bunch of new rooms coming into the Poly contract, your thinking is that they want to have existing ones as well because they're expecting that the demand is going to be way higher than
because you also have to remember, this isn't like the Disneyland Resort where you have restrictions, resale restrictions.
Yes.
This is a favorite hotel amongst members, a favorite resort amongst members, and you don't have those resale restrictions. So if you buy at the new Poly Tower, you will be, you'll still have the same deeds, same expiration date, 2066, and you will be able to use those points at any of the 14 classic DVC resorts. So that's huge as well.
Well, and I will tell you, ever since those pictures came out of the rooms in the resort itself, my wife's like, that's where we're staying next. Yeah, she's like, that it looks incredible and we need to stay there. I agree.
Polynesian is a member favorite. And right now they only have studios and bungalows.
Yep.
Now you're adding a whole new tower with all these different, types of accommodations. It's going to be big. Yes.
Because that's going to open it up to new members that maybe didn't buy in Poly before because the studio didn't work for them, right?
Absolutely.
So now there's going to be different people buying it. And I know Trevor's probably sitting here going like, no, stay away from my resort.
Well, I mean, you know what? The thing is that I can still stay at the existing ones because I fit into the studios, like the studios work for me. So, I mean, I'm not mad about it. It's just, it's good that we're getting all of the, the different room types, but it's still, I find it funny because it doesn't apply to me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter to you at all to have those room types. Yeah.
I always felt so bad when I would meet a family of 6 and they were like, our favorite resort is the Polynesian. And I'm like, do you have a kid maybe that you don't like as much as the others? Because I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to fit.
That's some Hunger Games level stuff.
I do wonder if they're going to keep ramping up, ROFR for Polynesian now because of that new tower coming online and because there is a lot of hype around it. And like you said, I think it's a monorail resort too, right? And those are always in high demand just by virtue of being on the monorail and being so close to Magic Kingdom. And I mean, I also noticed too, when I was at Disney last time, I was just at random places in Magic Kingdom and I could see the Poly Tower from the park. And I'm like, wow, this tower is going to have the best views, I think, of all the resorts. It's pretty amazing.
Fireworks will be worth it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, no, it's going to be big. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. They've been selling a ton of Old Key West there as well. So there's been a lot of buybacks at Old Key West. And then Grand Floridian just is super consistent. And they're buying back at Grand Floridian as well. So that's been interesting to see. It's definitely created, this floor. So that's what ROFR does, is it creates a floor in the resale market. If Disney's buying back at, let's say $165 per point at whatever resort, you're not going to put it on offer for $150 because it's going to get bought back. So it just slowly kind of, creates this floor, increases the market a bit. And so we definitely felt that in the resale market. And then you also feel it kind of at some of the other resorts too. So even though they're not necessarily buying back at all those other resorts, it's kind of that looming, worry of, is the Rofer monster waking back up completely? And I've been looking at this contract or been looking at this resort. We need some more points, might as well do it now while I know we're still in a buyer's market and before that flips. So good time to buy. And then we have some really exciting news that I was given permission to share with you guys 2 days early. So
look at that.
All right.
Starting July 15th, we are having our favorite promotion of, I guess we had it earlier this year, and we're doing it again, summer edition, and that is Red Hot Deals. So Red Hot Deals will start on July 15th, and it will go until August 31st. And basically, if you go to our website, you look at listings, you sort by Red Hot Deals, you're going to see this red kind of tag next to the listing. And that's going to let you know that that listing is part of the promotion. And all of these listings are already marked, 10% below the market. Wow. But just keep in mind, these are buy now, no haggle, they're firm price, first come, first serve, and they go so fast. Last time we did this, guys, we sold over $500,000 worth of contracts within 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Of launching this promotion. So it goes really fast. But the last time that we did this promotion, we had, so back in January, we had over 800 listings on our site. And right now we have closer to like 400 listings.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're going to go fast. So if you were looking for a specific contract, definitely sort by Red Hot Deals. Those ones are awesome. Look out for it.
Yeah, that's exciting. I was going to ask you, have we had any cabin contracts show up yet? The new cabins?
No, we have not.
Okay.
But to be honest,
it's early. It's early, right?
But I also haven't really heard of anyone buying them. I mean, I don't know.
I saw that they just declared some more inventory, so I don't know if that means that people are actually buying it or they're just, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I want to stay there. I definitely want to stay there because that is so my vibe.
Oh, really?
I love, I might like to dress up a little bit, but I like to rough it. I like to, especially at Disney, like that's glamping, that's not even the real stuff. So,
I mean, that's the best glamping you can get, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I stayed in the old cabins. That was kind of roughing it. So I'm excited, to stay there, but I don't know that I want to pay those dues. So
are they high dues? I haven't even looked at the dues. I'm going to be honest. They're high dues, really.
Yeah, they're high dues because the property is so big. There's just, I mean, just so you know, annual dues are true operational costs of the resort. So there's no like added fluff in there. It's expensive to upkeep that resort.
I get that.
That's fair. Do you feel that, or I'm getting the impression that the cabins are going to probably fall into the same category as like Alani, where
they're just going to be on sale forever.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way if people aren't reacting to it right off the bat. But I guess, Dani, do you feel that that's a potential or no?
So my view on these cabins is just because I talk to all different types of families, right? And so I think that this resort definitely fulfilled a need for a lot of families. It is the worst feeling when you are a family of 6 and you come in and I have to tell you, oh, yeah, no, you can't do a deluxe studio and you can't even do a 1-bedroom. You got to jump to a 2-bedroom or do multiple rooms to fit your family. And it's like, oh, we're just like one more. We just have one more. And so I think that these accommodations are going to definitely help those families. I just don't know how many of those families there are. I don't know if there's enough of a need to fill the whole resort.
I'm not going to lie too. Like, even if I had a family of that size, like camping is not my thing. Like even like this is, you're not really camping, but like you're still out and like, on a campground. It's just not my thing.
They're small. It's close quarters. So you better really love your family.
I mean, I mostly love them. Most of the time, you know, like generally though, you know, it's good to be able to go away from them sometimes.
but how much do you love them after a long day in the parks?
Oh, yeah.
You've been up since, you know, the park opened and you're cranky and you're hungry.
You know, it's funny you say that because I said to my wife on my last trip, like we were getting like a little snippy with each other, you know, because it was like hot out and stuff. And I just stopped for a second. I was like, and we never do that. Like that's not my wife and I. Yeah. And I'm like, Disney's just designed to have marital problems. Like, come on. Like this is just like and
it's such an oxymoron because you're at the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
But it
causes conflict.
Especially if you're one of those brave families that goes to Disney in the summertime. That is not me because, you know, I live here and I know better. I will not do that. If you want to ensure that you are going to fight with your family, go to Disney in the summertime.
Well, I went it was like the first week of May and it was high 90s still. It was awful. It was just funny though, because you see it, you know, as you walk around, you see like couples fighting and parents fighting with each other. It's stressful. It's stressful with the kid and the heat and you know everything. Yeah,
exactly. And it's for those of you who have never been to Florida in the summer. Let me just paint a little picture for you. So imagine you just, you know, got ready for the day. You're looking all cute. You just, you know, took a nice long shower. You put your makeup on, and then you walk outside and it actually just feels like you stepped into a sauna. You stepped right back into the shower. You are just drenched. You are hit with this suffocating heat.
You know,
am I making you want to go?
Yeah.
In Florida?
You know, circling that back to talking about staying at the cabins, I think that's why a proper hotel is probably a little more appealing because, like you said, you know, I can get up and I can, in the Poly, I can make my way through the buildings to the ceremonial house to get my food and stuff when it's really hot out and I won't die of heat exhaustion. Whereas if I was staying in a cabin, it's like you have no choice but to, you know, brave the heat, right?
You got to have the golf cart. If you don't have the golf cart, you're done for.
I think the cabins, you know, go during Christmas time. Like that is going to be such an incredible experience. Sit by the fire, roast some marshmallows, but any other time of the year, just go to Copper Creek cabins. Just go to the Cascade cabins at Copper Creek. That's maybe a bougier cabin for you.
I did one night there. It was amazing. But it was also crazy expensive. It's funny though, because like, you know, my mom growing up, like, you know, she went there when it was, you know, just Magic Kingdom, and they would stay at Fort Wilderness and you know, they had, I asked her this recently because she has 3 brothers and sisters and, you know, of course, you know, her parents. So there's, you know, 6 of them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, where were you guys staying? They're like, oh, we had like a pop-up camper. I'm like, what? Like 6 of you were staying in there? And she goes, yeah, with the dog too. And I'm like, what? Like, wow. It's just funny how we like, you know, we're talking about the space and I'm just like, that must have been crazy. I can't imagine 6 people in that small of a camper, but.
And also DVC members, we are spoiled and we forget because I haven't been a DVC member my whole life. I mean, my parents, you know, should have joined when I was 3 years old, but you know, we would walk past the kiosk. We would walk past the kiosk in the park and my dad would be like, we should really check out, you know, we come here quite a bit. My mom's like, no, they're just trying to sell us something. And so we didn't join till much later. And so I know what it's like to, you know, sleep everybody in the same room. My dad is snoring. I end up in the bathtub because I can't stand the snoring. And I take my pillow and blanket and I sleep in the bathtub. I know what that's like. But you forget as a DVC member. And then you walk into like a regular hotel room, not Disney, and you're like, excuse me, where's the full-size kitchen, the washer dryer? What's going on here? We forget.
No, you're totally right about that because my wife and I, prior to DVC, we were value resort people, right? Like we would be like, we're never in the room. We're open to close people, right? Like we're out all day. We just need a place to sleep. And then on our honeymoon, we stayed in a deluxe resort. And I remember saying to my wife, like 3 days in, I was like, we can't go back now. Yeah. Like you can't go back after this. Like it's just, you know. Yeah,
that would be absolute torture to have to go back after that. And, you know, you say, oh, yeah, I stayed in a cabin or, you know, I've stayed in a 3-bedroom Grand Villa. Who says that? Like who we say it so casually, like, oh yeah, we stayed in a Mickey mansion. We stayed in a 3-bedroom Grand Villa, 2,500 square feet. Like what at Walt Disney World, at like the most expensive place on earth.
Yeah.
We get to do that because we're members. How cool is that?
People, when I tell people about what I do, and then they're like, yeah, I looked up, where you stay, and are you spending $1,000 a night to stay there? And it's like, no,
what kind of secret life are you living?
Well, it's funny you guys say that, because I don't remember if it was a comment in the group, Trevor, or if it was one of our reviews where the person said, I always thought that DVC was just for super rich people, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really not, right? Like, especially when you buy resale, right? Like, because resale is such a value that you get, right? And it's so much cheaper, and it's just like, it's attainable for a lot of people, and but you don't realize it, unless you do your research and look into things like resale, where you can make it a lot more affordable for yourself.
I mean, the break even
on talk to Dani.
That's why we talked to
the break even on a resale contract is 3 to 7 trips for most people. I mean, that's nothing. If you think you're going to go to 3 to 7 trips to Disney in 30, 40 years, then you're actually already a member. Even if you're not a member, you're just not getting any of the.
It's a pretty low bar if you really think about it. Like.
That sounds like the sales tactic my guide got me to buy direct, because she said, you're giving us your money anyway. She's like, you're already giving it to us. You might as well, give it to us and own a piece of it.
Exactly.
I was like, you know what? You're right.
I know. It's the hardest thing to sell.
Yeah, exactly. Interestingly, though, I'm looking at the average resale price charts that you guys put out, because you guys put out a lot of good data on the different resale prices and what the market looks like. And, we were talking about Poly. Poly's like the one resort that just like has skyrocketed over the past couple months.
Yeah. I think people are projecting, what the direct pricing is going to be. I don't think that Disney is going to make the mistake that they did with Grand Floridian. I mean, if you bought Grand Floridian last year direct, good on you. You did amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
It will probably never happen again. So I think people are just kind of anticipating that and want to get in. Disney's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. When they promote something and they put money into marketing, the word gets out. So right now, obviously, if you're in the Facebook groups, if you're watching the YouTube channels, listening to the podcast, you're in the know. You know that the new tower is coming out, but not everybody does. And so when Disney starts marketing that, the word is going to get out and the demand is going to skyrocket for that resort. So I think it's just that anticipation.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. Like, the two most expensive resorts you have right now on average, right, are, it looks like Grand Floridian, I think, is that blue color, and Poly. And Poly started going up like significantly in April, and it's up like at least more than $20 per, a point per contract.
Yeah. So when I bought my last Poly contract, which was quite a few years ago now, I bought it at, it was about $150 a point, and I don't see anything less than $175 at the moment.
Yeah.
Nope.
So yeah, that's a pretty good jump.
You know what though? Like, you just did a great advertisement right there for the value of your contract, right? You bought it at $150, now it's worth over $180. Like, your contract is appreciated.
Yeah,
and you've used it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, the value I've gotten out of it is huge. And for anybody listening to this, we're talking about, yes, these prices have gone up, but to exactly what Tom's saying, if you buy in now, you're protected from any price hikes or anything else related to the Polynesian, right?
Yes, yeah.
And the way that I like to explain it, look, like, I definitely do not sell DVC as an investment. I mean, I would never, because we don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what it's going to look like. But the cool thing about it is, like I said, a majority of DVC members, when they buy, especially resale, break even in 3 to 7 years. So, or 3 to 7 vacations. If you're going to do 3 to 7 vacations within the life of the membership, you broke even already. So even if the price plummets completely and it sells for $2, those $2 you're still making. Those are still $2 you would have never gotten if you just went and paid rack rate and gave Disney your money, did those 7 trips, and then, you obviously can't turn around and sell them after. Whereas this you can. So it's pretty cool that, you've used the membership for all these years, you've broken even on it, and now you can turn around and sell it for more than you bought it for. That's like an unheard of concept in the industry.
Absolutely. And not like Trevor's going to sell his poly contract. No,
definitely not.
No, it's not going anywhere.
No. But yeah, you're right. It is crazy that like if I had to, I could sell it right now, and I would have I've had like 5 years of vacations out of it, and I would also make a profit on it right now.
Right.
That's crazy.
Looks like you should have bought your an additional contract a few months ago, though, Trevor.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we actually, I don't need it. Is the only thing. It would have been nice, but I don't need it.
So Dani, we have a couple of random questions on here. I don't know if you have anything else about like the market trends or anything like that you want to talk about.
No, I think that's about it. We do have another promotion called speaking of the add-on-itis promotion, and it's really cute. If you see any of the listings on our site that say add-on-itis next to it, you're going to get this exclusive bag that you only get by purchasing one of these contracts. You can't buy it anywhere else, and it says add-on-itis with the definition of add-on-itis, which I absolutely love. So that's just another little fun promotion that we're doing. But other than that, I think we've kind of covered everything. I mean, I think we're at a point where, if you're kind of on the edge, like you're thinking of doing it, you're kind of watching how things are going, I would say keep your eyes very, very, very wide open. The resale market, when things change, they change very, very fast. So like, as you could see with Polynesian, one day you could buy a poly contract for $139 a point, and then the next day you're paying $40 or $50 per point more. So that's the important thing with the resale market is if you're thinking about it, make sure you're watching it extremely close and you're paying attention to those trends so that you don't get kind of left in the dust, wishing that you bought it when you were looking at it the first time. You don't want to be in that woulda, coulda, shoulda club. So just keep an eye on the trends. I think that we are going to see a lot of changes in the next few months. So just keep an eye on all of that. But yeah,
and listen, if you're interested, if somebody's interested and you maybe you've been looking at it and you're not really sure, like reach out to DVC Resale Market. They will help you. They're not going to like pressure you into anything.
No.
Like, they're just there. They're going to answer your questions and help you out. And maybe you're not ready now, but you will be in a few months. I mean, they'll still be there waiting for you. So
yeah, there's really no pressure. We've all been doing this for a very, very long time. And our goal is really just to educate you so that you can make the best decision for yourself. So, and we're always available. I think we're one of the only companies open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to midnight, pretty much every day. You can even text me any day you want, and I'm always available. So we're very, very available for you. And we always say the more questions, the better. So if you're sitting there and you have questions and you don't know who to ask, just ask the questions. I promise there will be no pressure.
Yeah, and if you want, I'll just give out Derek's personal phone number on here. And you guys can just call him at any time that you want with any questions.
Absolutely, you can have my phone number. I can give you Derek's as well. You have lots of resources.
Well, see, I would only want prank calls to Derek though, so like that's
you would love that.
He would. Okay, so random questions. This is what we like to call reckless speculation. Always,
okay.
We love speculating on things.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think Reflections is dead? Or do you think that they're still going to develop that area with some sort of resort?
I have not heard a single peep about Reflections.
Interesting.
Actually, you just said that, and I was like, Reflections? Like, wow, we're talking about Reflections right now? No, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even have speculation on that.
Wow,
because
okay.
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it. Have you guys?
I mean, we saw that there was like a permit that Disney filed to extend their construction permit on the site. So that because they said it, and in the permit they said something like our our construction got paused due to COVID, and they wanted to extend it for a couple more years. And I also tend to believe that is such prime real estate that I feel like they'd be kind of crazy not to put a resort there.
Right.
Know?
But like it got paused, but yet how
other
many
things
resorts have popped up since then? I mean, COVID, even though it sounds like it was just a year ago, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. That's true.
That's true. I guess it has. Yeah. Forget how long ago it was that Reflections was on the table.
I know, because it was like a blip in the universe.
Yeah. It was like, what? They probably announced that like 2019, right? I think it was before the pandemic.
It was like right before.
Yeah.
So.
I remember announcing it on our member cruise. That was while I was still with DVC. Yeah, it must have been 2019. But it was like not even right before COVID. So we knew about it for quite some time.
Truthfully, though, for the most part, the new stuff that they've built since then has been like additions onto existing resorts, right? So like they haven't built a brand new resort, except for, I mean, I guess Riviera, but that was already in the pipeline. That was already being built. So like, I'm sure it's much more difficult to build a resort from scratch.
1,000%. It is. Yeah. And it's much more expensive too. So it could also be a funding thing.
That could be. Mm-hmm. I'm of the belief that they're going to develop that space. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon, but it's.
But I don't know that it will be Reflections.
Well, a lot of people thought it looked like a lot of people didn't love the design. I heard people say that it looked like a dorm building, which I didn't think it did. I thought it looked really nice, and also Reflections sounds like a day
spa. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool too. I was actually pumped for it because I love that little area, like where Wilderness Lodge is, and like where you're close to Magic Kingdom, but you're still kind of detached from it. You're like in a quiet corner. So, so the other question I had too was, what do you think about the lounge in Magic Kingdom where they're putting it, and how they're taking over the arcade there? We've talked about this a couple times about the size of it. Feels like it's going to be way too small for Magic Kingdom, but I'm curious to know what you think.
Okay, so we actually talked a little bit about the lounges and what our speculation was last time I was on. And
did we? Did we?
Yeah,
okay,
we did.
Yeah, because we didn't know that this was coming.
We didn't know it was coming.
No, they just said they were going to do one. We just didn't know where.
And we were just throwing things out there, and it was just being silly, but I was telling you guys that when I worked for Disney, we got to have a lot of our events in some really cool areas in the park, some like rooms that you probably don't even know exist that are, behind rides. And I just think that there are so many amazing spaces that it could be. And I was just shocked to hear where they were putting it. I don't know. I wasn't
not your first choice.
No.
Okay, that's fair.
It is centrally located, though. It's a good spot.
Yeah, sure. And look, like the lounges, I also think there's a lot more that they could do with the lounges because I'm a big traveler. I'm a big airport lounge girly. I love my priority pass lounges, and I have my favorite ones in certain countries. I think some do it a lot better than others, and so I love the concept of lounges, and I just think that they could take it a lot further. It's really cool the first couple times you go, but then it's like, okay, it's a room with goldfish and some soda and a place to charge your phone. And so I want them to do more. Like I want more. I know that there's a lot more potential, and I don't think it would, be insanely expensive. I think they have the resources. And yeah, I want more. I want some more theming. I want more of a Disney experience inside the lounges.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Let me ask you this then.
Good, Trevor.
So it sounds like you've been to a lot of different lounges. What's the best feature of a lounge you've seen so far that you would like to see in a Disney lounge?
I like that.
Ooh. The best feature in a lounge.
Because we had suggested free DOLE Whips in this Magic Kingdom one, but
because it's right by Aloha.
Because it's right by Aloha, right? It's right there. Free DOLE Whips.
Oh yeah, free DOLE Whips is. I mean, like my favorite feature in an airport lounge is like a massage therapist.
That's
okay, yeah,
and a shower. Actually, that is like the best thing when you're on a long haul flight and you could take a shower in between flights. I think that would probably be a little awkward at Disney.
A shower in Magic Kingdom would be wild.
Yeah.
That'd be really weird.
So for me, for the lounge at Disney, it would for me it would be all about the experience and the theming, and just like maybe something a little interactive, maybe a little storytelling, an experience. I think experience at Disney adds so much value. When people talk about Disney, it doesn't make financial sense for anybody to spend the amount of money that we spend when we go to Disney. But when you experience what you do when you go to Disney, it's unlike anywhere else. I mean, even if you stay in a 5-star resort and you spend insane amounts of money, at other non-Disney resorts, you're never going to have the experience that you do when you come to Disney. And so that's just what sets Disney apart from everywhere else. And I just love to see it everywhere, and I think that there should be more of it in the lounge.
So not just goldfish, but also like
Disney themed goldfish.
Yeah.
Well, no, we need somebody there like selling us on why we should have the goldfish, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how, cause it's like Frontierland / Adventureland. I'm trying to figure out how you like work that into like a interactive thing.
Cowboy goldfish.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have for you. I don't have any additional questions, Trevor. I don't know if you do, but Trevor, do you have anything else?
No, I thank you again, Dani, for coming on and talking with us.
It is always so much fun. Yeah, it was so much fun being here with you guys. And you have such an amazing, fun community. And I love whenever I do your shows and I get calls and emails from, fans of yours, and they're always the coolest, greatest people. So love chatting with you guys. If anybody, has any questions or you need to reach me, you could either send me a text message. I'll give you my cell phone. So if you have a pen, you could write it down. It is 954-257-2425. So 954-257-2425. You can text me anytime, or you can send me an email at Dani@DVCResaleMarket.com. I'm always here for you guys, always here as a resource to help answer any questions that you have. So thanks so much for having me. I had a ton of fun as always.
I really appreciate you coming on. We always have fun with you. So, thank you for taking the time today. I'm sure our listeners enjoyed it as well. We definitely had some fun topics today. So
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Dani. All right. Well, Dani's always fun.
Yes.
I will say I love Dani and I love having her on the show, but I also kind of miss Derek and I want Derek to come back on the show.
We'll get Derek back on, but, in the meantime, I guess since we just finished all that up, we should probably just do our ad and then we can go on to the other stuff we have, right?
Yeah, and actually, it's the ad this week is for DVC Rental Store, and one of the things that's interesting, and I didn't know this before I became a DVC member, is that you can rent DVC from a member before you buy, right? So it's like try it before you buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's part of why we partner with World of DVC, because they have all this stuff. So the DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com/welcome home or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. Like I said, if you're interested in DVC and like you'd want to see what it's like, it's a great way to do it. And also save a lot of money too. I mean,
and honestly, and yes, they are a sponsor of the show, but we are picky about our sponsors, and we would never, tell you guys about something that we ourselves are not, interested in or, believe is a good thing. So, we're like Tom said, World of DVC they offer a lot of great stuff, and we've both bought contracts through World of DVC. So,
yes.
I think that says something. And definitely check them out. If you're not sure, try renting it first and see if it's something that works for you and your family before you buy it.
Yeah. And I mean, I even, I even did a rental through Rental Store too. So I put my, I had some extra points one year and there was nothing I could do with them. So I rented them out on Rental Store. And the thing I like about them, and I hate when people think that we're trying to shill for the sponsor, but we actually like these people and they actually do good things. And that's part of why we do this. But the process is just so easy to do this. And like the whole setup is so easy, and they give you instructions all the way through, and they're just super nice too. Like they're the best people to work with. That's all I'm going to say. So, and listen, we've been partnered with them now for 7 years. I mean, like our first guest on the show was the owner of World of DVC.
Yes,
and I mean, that was before it was World of DVC. At that point, it was just DVC Resale Market. They didn't even have Rental Store or Monera or any of the other, companies, right? So it's almost like they've grown, at the same time that we have. So
yeah, it's been great to kind of be with them along that, right?
Yeah,
we've all grown up and changed over time.
Yeah, well,
it's cool that we're still friends.
Yeah, and the funny thing is too, Trevor, and I don't know if you feel this way too. Before I bought direct, I had no idea that there was a resale market. No clue.
Oh, yeah.
that was even an option. I thought I could only buy from Disney. Like I had no idea there were other options.
Yeah, same for us. Like we started investigating it, and then like as we were going through the process, our guide actually mentioned about resale, but we were already like convinced at the time that we wanted our first contract to be direct. But then once we had that contract, all of a sudden I started looking closer at the resale market, and it was like, oh, there's actually a lot more options here than you realize. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's good to know everything that you can do up front. Like there's nothing wrong with if you want direct, buy direct, but resale gives you a lot of options.
Well, and listen, it's a big expense, right? It's you're buying real estate essentially, and it's not cheap. So like it's important to do your research and know exactly what you're buying into. And I did some research when we bought direct, but I was also like, feeling the Disney glow, and it was like, didn't do as much research. It was just kind of like, yeah, we should totally do this. We should.
Yeah. There is definitely an aspect of, it's that, it's almost healing your post Disney trip depression.
Exactly.
Because you're like, you just need something to make sure that it's like, well, I know I'm going back again.
Well, I've joked about this before, but it's true. It's like, it's scary easy to buy a contract, right? Like from resale market. Like it's like the easiest way I've ever spent over $10,000 in one sitting before, like it was too easy. I was like, wait, did I just spend that much money? Like, and it was just so simple and straightforward. And it's,
me too. I mean, like should find it, trying to remember what episode it was where we had Marissa and Derek on, and I bought the contract as we were talking.
The show.
Yeah, like it was that easy where I was like, they were telling us about how they were changing the stipulations around the resale stuff, and I was like, I was actually talking to my wife, like I was texting her and saying like we should really get into this, and she was like, find a contract, and I'm like, okay. And so then I just bought it on my phone as we were talking on the show.
Yeah, that's so easy.
It is that dangerously easy.
Okay, well, let's talk about D23.
Yeah. So this is so anyone that doesn't know, I mean, I guess if you're listening to this, you probably know what D23 is, but this is like Disney's big. It's not, or I guess it's an expo. Like it's
it's an expo.
Yeah, it's them showing off new things that are coming, and so let's start with. So it's called Horizons, and this. So first disclaimer: Horizons does not mean returning of the ride.
You don't know,
Horizons.
Trevor. It could.
I don't think so, but. Let's talk about the picture that they put out for this.
Okay, so first, but this one is the one with Josh D'Amaro, who is the head of Disney Parks and Experiences, and this is probably the one we're going to expect them to announce all the projects, right?
Yeah, so did you look at the
picture? Yes.
Yeah, the artwork. So like I was, it took me a little bit to kind of process everything that was going on in it.
Yeah.
But they actually represent, so in the picture, they represent all of the castles.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this at first, but the Epcot or Spaceship Earth is actually behind all the castles.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
or
off to the side.
A sun, I don't know.
I feel like I feel like with the color palette, it's meant to be Spaceship Earth.
Well, and the fact that they're calling it Horizons, and Horizons is a famous Epcot ride, so
yeah.
But
yeah, and then they also have like it's interesting choices on the so they're showing off all the 6 castles. So like all the castles across North America and the international parks are represented here. But then they show Mickey's Fun Wheel in California Adventure, Tree of Life,
which is like the emblem of that park, right? It's like,
Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom, and then so the Mickey Ear water tower, that's in Paris, right?
Yeah, but I almost wonder if they're referencing. Do you think they're referencing Hollywood Studios there? Well, no, because they have the Chinese theater behind it, right?
Yeah, so, the Chinese theater is the Hollywood Studios icon now, so that has to be Paris, and then Big Thunder is like big off to one side, right?
It's interesting. I didn't notice that until just now. That Big Thunder is right there.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Like I said, this is the thing, is that when you start looking at it, it's like, what are they? And let's think about what we've talked about is we know about Animal Kingdom with the Dino Land redo, and we know about Beyond Big Thunder. So, but then I'm trying to think what else they would be showing at these other parks, right?
Well, I mean that's all we're going to hear about, right? All the projects that they're going to start doing that we just don't know about yet, right?
Yeah, well, but we've been so focused on those ones that I'm like, okay, what else? What else are they going to do, right? Yeah,
because obviously, I mean, if we're going to take this as they're hinting at things, right?
Yeah. This picture is entirely them hinting at what's on the agenda, right?
Yeah, because they've got cruise ships in the foreground too. So
too. Yeah, I almost forgot about the cruise ships.
Yeah, so we know there's new cruise ships. That they're probably going to announce new things for cruises. The Big Thunder thing is very interesting because, like you said, it's it is Big Thunder, but I almost like it almost looks too like the concept arts of like the Villain Lands that have like the far off like castle on top of a big hill. But it's it's definitely Big Thunder. But when I first looked at it, I was like, "Ooh, is that like the Villains Land thing?" But no, it's Big Thunder. But yeah, Trevor, it's a good point. It's going to be really interesting to see what's announced here, and I also just think the name itself, Horizons, of this particular showcase, this panel. I guess it's not a panel. It's just Justin Yamar doing his thing. And so this is gonna, I'll read really quickly what it says. Saturday, August 10th. He's going to welcome fans as he takes the stage with surprise stars, special guests for a live celebration of music and the creativity that power our stories, and of course, news and updates about the projects and the development around the world. So that's what we're obviously really waiting for. What I was thinking to myself what they've done in the past with like the special appearances, and I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if they brought out like some of the cast members from Encanto, because they're obviously doing an Encanto thing, right? And like they're talking about a celebration of the music, like Encanto, right? Like that would be kind of cool if they did that, but we'll see. And then it says the future is bright for Disney experiences and this can't miss showcase. And you've probably seen stuff from this. It's they name it something different every year, right? It's like not the same thing, but this is the one where Josh Giamaro comes out and says all the stuff that they're working on. This is where they announce Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land, and this is where they do it.
Yeah, I feel like the difference here. So you're right. They do this every year, but the last couple of years have been very like just blue sky stuff, right?
Yeah.
We're thinking about a thing, or we've got things coming for you guys. I feel like the way that they're, like I said, just from the hinting on the picture and everything, I feel like this is going to, be the very deliberate, this is what's coming, these are planned in the next 2 or 3 years.
Because now they have money. So
and I'm really hyper focused on the fact that Big Thunder is actually taller than all of the castles in the picture. Like it's further in the foreground, which is like, why?
It's taller than the Chinese theater too, and Mickey's Fun Wheel. Mickey's Fun Wheel's super small compared to everything else.
And the thing is too is that like you kind of think and go, well, it's it's a mountain. They're showing off something in Magic Kingdom. It's like but they have all the castles there, and also there's no sign of anything like Space Mountain in here. Like it's very deliberately Big Thunder, and it's like kind of like hitting you in the face almost Again, that's where it's kind of like I'm very intrigued by the choices of what they picked for these icons in this picture. Is, how is that going to translate to this panel that Josh is going to do?
Well, and maybe even the fact that the middle is Spaceship Earth-ish. Maybe we'll finally get the Spaceship Earth, for the overhaul. Because now that the rest of the work has been done in Epcot, and now they're going to a different phase, right? I wouldn't say phase 2 because it's probably like phase 4 at this point, right? But like now they're redoing Test Track, right? So they could also redo Spaceship Earth at this point too. They really need to. At some point, they have to do it, right? It's been showing its age for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it'll be. This is going to be, I like this poster a lot, by the way. I love when they do D23 because especially like when they have a lot of like parks announcements, because they always make like these really cool posters and like, these really, really interesting, different pieces of different images that they come up with. I remember years ago when they announced a whole bunch of stuff, they had like the attraction posters that they made for like all of these things that they announced, even though like a lot of them didn't come to fruition, but they had like these really cool posters. But yeah, so this is the one, and I'm so mad about this, Trevor, because this is the first day I'm on my cruise. I'm going to miss all of this. I'm going to not have internet. I'm not even going to know what happened until a week later. So mad.
Well, I would say I would message you, but you're not going to get the messages anyway.
No, I'm not going to get the message. I'm not paying for internet on the cruise ship.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know we definitely have a couple listeners that are going to D23 because they've mentioned that they're going. So yes. I'll be interested to hear what they say. Maybe we can even get somebody on to talk about it because there's other panels. Obviously, I think the panel that everybody's most excited about is the Josh Diamar one, right? So because that's where we find out about the parks. But there's also like an Imagineering one where they, it's like a panel where they, talk to Imagineers. There's bringing the. Go ahead, sorry.
So there's costuming. There's Magic After Dark, which is talking about the nighttime spectaculars.
I'd actually be interested in seeing that one. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. There's Disney ambassadors panels, Disneyland foods. I like that they specifically called out Disneyland.
Yeah.
So it's but or they describe it as yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I guess it's talking about like, classic things at Disney and then, current and then what they're doing next. So, because they have some really talented chefs there. And yeah, so that would be one that I would like to see as well as, kind of like what's coming. The other one,
let's also not forget that Doritos were created at
exactly.
Too, so.
Yeah. Doritos are a thing because of Disney. The other one though that I'm actually really curious about is it says the World of Disney, the product experience. And I know that, and you're going, what? But because they say the must-see D23 shopping and immersive destination showcases with new and limited edition products and experiences across your favorite Disney brands and franchises. So this is them previewing all the new merchandise that's coming. And the reason that I care about this is on my last trip, the merchandise felt very flat and very uninspired. So, this is where, Disney might be able to redeem themselves if there's hope of, some better stuff coming from a shopping standpoint. Because, let's be honest, you can say that, you don't have to buy anything at Disney. Come on. We all want to buy stuff at Disney. Like, don't tell me you don't want to buy, not just souvenirs, but, clothing, household items, stuff like that. Like, I'm really hoping that, the fact that they're highlighting this at D23, that, maybe they have some interesting stuff coming and it's not going to be, I was talking with my wife about this, that, the thing she hated the most was that everything had like, 2024 slapped on it. And it was like, and it was the same thing across every park. Like it didn't matter where you went. It was just the same stuff in every park. And it was all dated to like the current year. And it's like, stop doing that. Like, I don't
just don't do that anymore.
I don't need the number on it, please.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, yeah, there's a lot of good panels here. And, it's, hopefully it'll be a good time. And yeah, you'll get to find out about it later, but I'll be paying attention to it the day of.
Yeah, no, I'm not pleased with myself for not thinking about D23, but it's fine. I can find out a week later.
Are you really gonna like postpone a cruise because of D23? No. Yeah,
exactly. No. I need a cruise. I need to disconnect from the world for a little while. So yeah. So I mean, listen, is that a casualty of that? Yes, it is. But you know what this is? I'm just looking at this even more, Trevor. You know what this is reminding me of a little bit is remember the scuttled plans for Westcott?
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Not that I think they're bringing back Westcott, but I'm just saying, like the sphere looks like Westcott.
Yeah, that's fair. As maybe, yeah, again, this maybe goes back to we have our speculations on things that we know about and things that have kind of been alluded to that are happening, but Disney is also good at sometimes hiding stuff up until the point that they're ready to fully announce it and blow everybody away. So maybe it won't be Westcott, but something like that, where it'd be a space that none of us expected to happen. Actually, and I just realized
they did Westcott. That'd be nuts.
Yeah, I just realized why Mickey's Fun Wheel is in there, because they're the Pandora experience in California Adventure, which I'm still puzzled how they're going to do that, because there's not a lot of space there.
It's all that space that they've marked off, though, in that Disneyland Forward proposal, right? So I don't even know if it's technically going to be part of California Adventure. It might be a whole third park altogether, right?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, maybe this is where they announce a third gate, because for Disneyland.
By the way, if you don't know what Westcott is, Google it. Yeah. It was supposed to be West Coast Epcot. This was one of the concepts for the second park at Disneyland, that eventually became California Adventure. But Westcott is one of those things that's like Disney lore at this point. It's like, because it was a really cool design, and it would have been like even like an improvement on Epcot. Like, I think the thing that always gets me that I like hope they still do someday is like, all of the countries would have had like hotels in them, and like you'd be able to walk around at night, like just like you're in that place. That was the idea behind it, and that would have been cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure operationally nightmare, but yeah. Anyway, so
okay, so hold on, I'm looking at the castles in this picture. So okay, so there's
you're trying to figure out which one's which.
Yeah, so there's Disneyland and Tokyo Disney are the two smallest ones.
Yeah.
And then I think the next highest ones would be Disney World
and Shanghai. Shanghai's the
tallest. Yeah. Oh, Shanghai's the tallest. Okay, so
yeah.
So Disney World and
Shanghai's the one over to the right, I think. Is the one all the way to the right. Yeah.
All right. And then what else okay. And then Hong Kong and Paris. I guess Paris is pretty big too, isn't it?
It is, but I don't know if I think it might be smaller than the Disney World one. It could be.
I wonder if Hong Kong and Shanghai are the two biggest ones. That would make sense, because it's like those parks are.
Oh, I just found an infographic on this. It goes Shanghai, Disney World, Tokyo, Disneyland Tokyo, Disneyland Paris, Disneyland Hong Kong, Disneyland Anaheim.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shanghai and then Disney World.
All right.
There's actually not that much of a difference. There's only an 8-foot difference between the two, but Shanghai's is much wider. Like it's much bigger, just generally, So yeah, I think that's, I'm looking at it as Shanghai's all the way to the right, Disney World maybe all the way to the left. I don't know, because it doesn't look like the right castle.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I always, it's hard doing it by the silhouettes, right? Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
but
it is.
But I guess the other thing that I get from this is that because they're showing off, or they're specifically representing each of those parks, I feel everybody says fifth gate in Florida. I don't think that's on. I still don't think here at all.
Yeah.
I know some of our listeners want to believe that there's going to be a fifth gate. I'm still not convinced that, I'll be pleasantly, I will admit I'm wrong. If they do it, hey, you were right, I was wrong. But I don't see there being a fifth gate.
I don't see it
or at
either,
least
Trevor,
not announced at this particular.
Not announced at this one. Yeah. Because if they're designing a whole new park, I mean, that's going to take a while. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see, I guess. Right. Who knows? we could be completely wrong about this. I mean, they in the past at D23, these panels, they've announced a lot of stuff that was not speculated about beforehand, right? Like they do keep some stuff pretty close to the vest, right? Like it's yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that they're highlighting so much other stuff in this particular announcement, it feels like if they were lining up for a fifth gate, they wouldn't have all this other stuff.
Yeah.
There too, right? Like it doesn't make sense to me that they would be like, oh, we're doing all these things and a fifth gate. Like it's spreading themselves way too thin.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. I guess we're going to see on August 10th, though, aren't we?
Yeah,
less than a month away.
Yeah, less than a month.
Yeah, less than a month
away. It'll be here before you know
it. It will be here before you know it. So let's talk about a few other things and we'll get out of here. But right. First of all, Disney Speedstorm is now on mobile, which is actually good for me because I'm really bad about console gaming and I've wanted to play this game. And now that I can play it on my phone, I will probably do that. Whereas I probably wouldn't have on console just because I'm so bad at playing games. I'm just usually on my phone.
That's fair. I guess the thing about mobile is that. I'm a bit of a gaming purist in that.
Yeah, I get it.
If I'm playing a racing game, I do need a controller. Like I'm not the steering wheel racing guy, but I definitely need a controller. Like
I'm just imagining you with a little steering wheel on your desk, just
Yeah, no, I've never wanted to invest in the full that kind of setup. I've instead spent all of my money on VR. But yeah, exactly. But my only thing with this is that it's great that they brought it to mobile. I just hope control wise that the controls are good on mobile because I've seen. Like racing games are kind of hard because you do need, quick reaction times, right? Especially because it's an arcade racer and you got to be, dodging stuff and all that. I just hope that they made the racing controls decent on it. Alternately, though, you can of course connect like a Bluetooth controller to your phone and then, play with a controller on your phone. But I feel like what you're saying is, people that play exclusively on the phone, you don't want to be hauling around a controller to just play a racing game, right?
Yeah, so. That's what it is. I'm not gonna lie, Trevor. When I saw this headline, I was like, I'm going to open this up and it's going to be iOS only, isn't it? Because, but Disney they'll do both for this kind of stuff, but not for phone cases or anything else fun for phones. It's always iOS right. And never, the Android people always get left in the left behind. Which is
silly because, Android's a larger market share worldwide. It's just iPhone is bigger in North America. But.
And also because, Apple people sit on the board of Disney, I'm sure probably helps too.
Oh, probably.
But yeah, no, I'm going to check this out. And also they just added anxiety from Inside Out 2, which, I've seen a lot about on social media, and I've seen the movie today. So, I guess I will know more about this character then. But I
don't know how I feel about anxiety driving a car.
I mean, have you never had anxiety driving in a car before?
All the time, but
yeah, you don't want it there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Let's talk about
just funny. It's great. I just find it funny. Anxiety driving a vehicle.
I thought it was funny too, but I'm sure once I see the movie, I'll understand more.
Exactly. All right.
So this was an interesting announcement, right? Do you want to say it? Or do you want to talk about it?
Go ahead, because you're the cruise guy now. I'm
a cruise guy. Okay.
Yeah, I've never done a cruise, and you're more qualified than me to talk about this.
All right. Well, I've only been on one, and it was 20 years ago. So
yeah, exactly.
Actually, probably longer than 20 years ago. But I am going on one in a few weeks here. So, but Disney and the Oriental Land Company are expanding their relationship to launch Disney Cruise Vacations in Japan. So. Disney Cruise has been, they've been expanding quite a lot. Disney Cruise Line has. They've been adding new ships, and now they bought that one ship that was done that got abandoned, and they're doing that one. They're redoing that one, and I think that one's going out of Singapore, right? Mm-hmm. This is different though. This is so the way that Disney. I don't know if everybody knows this, but the way that Disney operates in like Japan is they basically license out their IP and their and Imagineering to a company there who pays for pretty much everything. And then Disney just gets a piece of the profits and, all that kind of stuff, which is why, whenever you watch stuff from the other parks, you're always like, why do they get all the nice things? And the answer is because Disney doesn't have to pay for it. So
yes, the other company is spending all of their budget, or not all. I mean, the Oriental Land Company has lots of money, but
they do. Yes, and they tend to spend more. And again, I always go back to Imagineering story. They actually talk about this, that some of the Imagineers really like working on the Asian parks because their budgets are so much bigger than for the domestic parks, and they get kind of jealous sometimes. Like the ones working on domestic stuff get jealous of the people working on the international ones because they have so much more of a budget to work with. So. But so this is similar. So Disney's basically expanding the relationship they already have with the Oriental Land Company, because they do already, do this with Tokyo Disney Resort. Sorry. So OLC already owns and operates Tokyo Disney, and so obviously they decided to expand this, and it's going to be interesting. They're going to launch a Disney branded cruise in Japan beginning in early 2029. So we're still pretty far off from this, but I mean, 5 years is not that long, I guess. But it says a new Disney cruise ship to be registered and based in Japan year round will be constructed in Germany. That's where that shipyard is where they do all of their boats. And they're going to design it. Walt Disney Imagineering is going to design it. And it looks like it's going to be a sister ship to the Wish. It's going to be interesting to see if they, if this is going to be just like a copy, or are they going to go crazy with the budget on this and really blow it out, and it's going to be the best cruise ship they have, and we're all going to be sad because it's all the way in Japan. I have no idea.
Okay, the next part of that, the statement they released though says it will feature many guest favorite venues experience from that ship, with select modifications specifically designed with Japanese guests in mind.
Okay, yeah.
Which I don't know that they'll, it'll be like head and shoulders above what is out there now, but it's interesting that they're specifying with Japanese guests in mind, because I mean, I don't know how much you look at how tourism and stuff works in Japan. The way that they set up hotel rooms and stuff is very different than how we do it. So it'll be, I get the feeling it's going to be like a bizarro world version of the Disney Wish, right? Like the same way that going from Disneyland to Disney World, it's it's almost the same but not quite. I feel like it's not going to be better, but it's going to be this is like the Wish but not quite.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that it'll be bad. I think it's just going to be funny that people will have an expectation of it. And it'll be no, this is designed for people in it's going to be touring mainly around Japan. So it's going to be designed with that region in mind. So, yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, and Disney's kind of, Tokyo Disney is very similar to other parks that Disney already has, but they kind of put a, Japanese spin on it, right? It's a little different, right? And they specifically cater to that audience. One of my favorite things about the Oriental Land Company thing was they talked about it in the Imagineering story, where it was hey, this company's reaching out to us, and this is 40 years ago, because Tokyo Disney's been around for a long time. And the guy that was I forget if he was the head of Imagineering or if he was the COO or whatever, but he's this guy in Japan keeps reaching out to us. They want to build a park. And the CEO at the time was I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It seems like a lot of money, a lot of work. And he's he jokingly said something tell them if they pay for everything, then we'll do it. And then he came back and they said, yeah, they agreed to that. So and they're I guess we got to do this now. Yeah. It's actually a pretty funny part of Imagineering story if you look at it, because literally just yeah, tell them we'll do it if they pay for everything. And then they're yeah, sure, we'll pay for everything. So yeah. The other interesting thing about this too, their relationship with OLC is their construction standards, and because they weren't paying for everything, it like required Imagineering to actually like turn itself into like a record keeping business. Like, basically everything they did before was like a one-off, where they just like, they made it that one time and didn't keep any records of it, and they would never make it that same way again. And like, they talk about this in the Imagineering story is that their relationship with them because they had to document everything, it like forced them to become a better organized organization, which is, I thought was kind of interesting and cool. So anyway,
I mean, it's, if we didn't have that, like, that's actually an interesting point. Some of the old rides actually would not exist anymore because they were done one of, and nobody bothered to write down how they did it.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So the last thing we got on here, I don't have anything else about this cruise ship. I don't know if you do, but it is cool. It's cool for DCL fans. Like, it is amazing to me how Disney keeps sprawling out, and their empire is getting larger and larger. It's just everywhere in the world, basically. So Anyway, so Trevor, it's Dole Whip Day coming up soon.
It is
Dole Whip Day
on July 18th. July 18th. Sorry, yeah.
The fourth annual Dole Whip Day. So this is a made-up holiday.
And sorry, it runs from July 18th through July 21st. That's why I was thinking. So I don't know that I would go to Disney this time of year specifically for Dole Whips, but
it's probably melted by the time it gets to your hand. Like, it's like the person hands it over the counter and it's already melted.
Yeah, but there is definitely, if you are in the area, there is lots of different things to try in this for those couple of days that they're advertising here. Obviously, you can always go get a classic Dole Whip, or the pineapple upside down cake, which I honestly don't. I don't want a cake with my Dole Whip, but I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm sure there's people that like it. I've just never seen anybody buy one. But
they got a raspberry swirl going on too. Sorry.
They do. The one thing actually, so I had the I Lava You float at Sunshine Tree Terrace. So they're advertising both at Aloha Isle and Sunshine Tree Terrace. The Lava You float actually is so it has the orange Dole Whip on top.
Which is the one I like,
which I hadn't had it up until that point, and that orange Dole Whip is actually really good.
Delicious. And then it has Fanta strawberry in there too, right? So
yeah, I mean it was a good float all around. Like, me and my son both had one, and we were like, that was really good. But then I realized it's like, maybe I was always like, pineapple or nothing, but but that's because like I tried like lime and stuff in the past and didn't have great experiences with them. The orange is
lime. I like the lime. I had it when I was with you, actually.
Yeah, I had lime before you and I went that one time, and it was not good. But I think it was just I caught it on a bad day where, like, I don't know, they didn't like it was too icy is what it came down to.
Okay.
So orange though is definitely worthwhile.
One of the new things on this list, Trevor, is a cherry pineapple swirl.
Pineapple.
Yeah, I would try that.
I don't know how I feel about that, because I conceptually I like cherry as a flavor, but then I find that I never actually want anything cherry flavored.
I had some cherry pie last week for 4th of July, so I
don't like cherry pie like that. Ooh, like actual cherries I don't like, but if it's like cherry flavored candy, I'm okay with it. So I mean, this might be okay. But
you got to be careful with cherry flavor, because it could end up tasting like cough syrup. Like, if you're not careful.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's the problem, is that like cherry almost, it gets like a medicinal flavor if it's done wrong. So
yeah, exactly.
And that one's at Refreshment Outpost in Epcot, by the way, for anyone that's looking for it.
There's a couple of like new ones on here. Maybe we just go through the new ones, since these other ones have been done in the past. But you mentioned Dole Whip lime. So there's a Dole Whip lime, a key lime sundae. It's in a waffle bowl with whipped cream and a lime garnish. Basically, they're just throwing the lime one in the in a waffle bowl, right? Like that's all they're really doing there. And then they have an orange bird cone, which is the orange, right? And an orange cone with sprinkles and a chocolate piece. Okay. This falls under our category, Trevor, of things they just threw a logo on.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
minimum
there's a little
creativity.
more to it. There's a little more to it, right? I mean, like it's a different color, cone.
Okay. So that's the cone. The float though is a little more interesting. The orange bird float.
Yeah.
Because that's an orange and watermelon swirl. So that's an interesting pairing. And then with Fanta orange in a souvenir cup.
That sounds good, actually. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't add alcohol to that.
Yeah. It specifically says non-alcoholic, but I'm no, actually, I would not say bring your own.
Trevor always sneaks a flask into the park, so it's alcoholize the non-alcoholic.
You gotta make sure it's a plastic flask so you don't get caught at security. Don't listen.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to get.
This is a bad idea. Yeah. don't do this, please. Do not say you heard me and tried this. Okay.
Please don't sue us when you get banned from Disney property.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have on the Dole Whip Day. There's a bunch of stuff on here. I'll put the link out if you haven't seen it. And if you're going to happen to be at Disney between the 18th and the 21st, it's a very short little celebration there. So it's one of those ones that they don't come up with a lot of new stuff for. Most of it is existing stuff that they just, throw in different ways. But yeah.
Yeah. But, and also, I mean, some of the stuff is things like it is like Dole Whip flavors that you don't find common throughout the park. So, if you are looking to try something different, even if it's stuff that's come back more than once, it's always good. It's always good to have a Dole Whip.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I always like it just because, it is dairy free, which, ticks a box for me because I can't do a lot of dairy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Should we wrap this one up?
Yeah. That was a good episode today. It was. And just thanks again to Dani for hanging out with us and talking about resale market and everything. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions about anything you heard on the show, or you just want to share your own thoughts, or ask us about stuff for the next show, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We do love hearing from you guys and, just talking with you. In that same vein, we are also on social media on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast, and Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure you check out our group, the Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where, a lot of our listener questions come from there, but we also have, people sharing their own expertise on Disney because, we are not the smartest Disney people out there, but we have very smart people in our group. So, we got that going for us. And, but yeah, no, it's a good group. And, we very much enjoy, all the discussion everybody has, and also the memes. We've got some great people that post very funny stuff about the show and about Disney stuff in general. So please check that out. And also to help support the show, we do have a store, so you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can check out our different merch that we got there. There is t-shirts and mugs and stuff like that it just anything you buy there, it just helps us keep doing what we're doing here. So
keeps the lights on.
Yeah, exactly. And please check it out. And I think that's right. And we also have a Patreon. I almost forgot about the Patreon.
Don't forget about the Patreon.
The Patreon is patreon.com/welcomehomepod. Our Patreon listeners do get exclusive merch that you can't get in the store. So we have an exclusive logo for our Patreon listeners, and Patreon listeners also get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we have great conversations about, things coming up like D23 and cruises and all that other kind of stuff that, it's another place like the Facebook group where we have great conversations about Disney. So, please consider joining us there too.
Yeah, and the Discord group is where I found out there's no way I'm getting a cabana on Castaway Key. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You find out crucial information like that.
Yeah, I want a cabana, but I'm not getting one. So
yeah, exactly.
And
you can tell us after you go on your cruise next year how awful it was.
Not how awful. I just heard the cabanas are hard to get. So.
I want to hear a whole thing about why your whole trip was ruined because you couldn't get a cabana.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to complain the whole time because I couldn't rent out $1,000 cabana.
Don't be that person.
Exactly. Anyway,
we're just joking. But last but not least, though, as we read at the beginning of the show, we love hearing reviews from you guys. So. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or iTunes, and on iTunes you can write us a review, and we love seeing those. We love hearing what you guys think about the show, and it helps the show get around to more people because of the way the algorithms work. And if we get enough 5-star reviews, maybe we'll get that legendary 4.7 rating someday. So keep it coming.
Yeah, and also the other way you can help us out is to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast, so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app that's out there. You can find us. And just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC cast member or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today, or call DVC Resale Market if you have questions about resale, because Disney's not going to be able to help you with that. So call Dani. So thank you again for Dani for showing up on the show today and doing a great job and being fun. We appreciate it. Anytime somebody can come on the show and be fun with us. That's always a requirement, right? So big thank you to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring the show, and Dani for giving us some time for this episode. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.